In case you didn't hear the news last night on Twitter, the new Star Trek series called Star Trek Strange New Worlds is a go. Here was the announcement by the three actors who play the main leads. And that is, let me get their names, Anson Mount, Rebecca Romijn, and Ethan Peck. And those are Captain Christopher Pike, Number One, and Spock. Now, what I seem to recall are these characters were very similar, if not the same, as the pilot to the original series in the 60s, where you had Majel Barrett, I believe, as Number One. So this pretty much is the same formula from that series, only 10 years prior to Captain Kirk. And they get into all their adventures. So we're thinking of a more raw version of Spock. I don't know how this relates to the timeline of Discovery, because I haven't watched that show. I tried to. I just could not get into it. So maybe this is a continuation of that series. Pike gets a new commission. Spock goes along with him, as does Number One. I don't know how the Federation works these days. After trying to watch the slow-moving car crash and massive explosion that was Picard, this is actually good news, because it's going back to the formula that made Star Trek work. And that is a idealized, futuristic, peaceful world where humans all get along and all the problems that exist are external. They're all part of the galaxy, and it's up to humanity to solve those problems. And here's a response, I believe, from Ethan Peck. The ethos of Star Trek is so curious and welcoming and unifying, and we're going to get to work on a classic Star Trek show that deals with optimism and the future. So there we go. That's, to me, is Star Trek. You have this idealized world, everyone gets along, and then you're thrust into alien worlds and discoveries that you're not too sure of, and you have to use ingenuity and intellect and technology to save the day. And that's what Star Trek's always been. Here we go. I can't wait, and I guess there's only one more thing to say. Hit it. So that's a big jump compared to what we got in Discovery and Picard, where we almost got a rewriting of lore, of history, of what the Federation is, what Earth is, how people in certain worlds no longer have to worry about hunger or material goods, and yet we had squabbles and fights about fancy houses and chairs. So it was quite a departure from what we wanted or were expecting from the Star Trek world. And this is the problem with the Kurtzman writing, or the Kurtzman producers and direction of the series. This is why I never got into Discovery, and that's why it was very painful to watch Picard. You know, it started off with some potential and then just slowly just kept going further and further down until the last episode just exploded the entire series into a pile of science fiction nonsense. So if they go back to their roots, if they go back to the Spock, McCoy, Kirk dynamic, and they do a precursor, I think that could actually work. I actually really enjoyed Star Trek Enterprise. That's why I was very curious about the announcement of all these other shows that might be coming through this universe, because I don't think it could handle it, because there wasn't much depth to the universe. But if they can somehow bring back that classic Trek episodic storytelling in a much more futuristic or believable, detailed world, that would be neat, because you have these giant sets, these beautiful, bright sets with all these dials and buttons and details. And that's what the original Star Trek needed. It needed that sophistication, needed that futuristic feel. And to have that ideal being real, this future that people can actually be peaceful in, and they want to better themselves, and they want to help the galaxy, they want to learn about the galaxy, and they are the best and the brightest that we send out there. But I don't know too much about Discovery. I'm thankful I don't, because it never interested me. Picard was a letdown. If you guys know how this ties into Discovery, if this is a sequel to Discovery or a prequel, please leave your comments below. I'd like to know, because I can't be bothered to watch another episode. It was painful enough. I think the clips I saw were bad enough. But please fill in my blanks. Tell me what's great about this series, whether or not this is going to work or fail. And thanks for listening. Have yourself a great day.